Greetings, folks. Nice to see you today. My name is Dustin Cormier, and welcome to How to Rock Astrology. Today, we're talking about what it's like when you have the Sun in Taurus and Mars in Capricorn. This is a cool, juicy combination. The Sun here is very close to its exaltation point of Aries. It's not doing the best by sign, being in Taurus. The Sun doesn't typically get along well with Venus, but the Sun is still close to its exaltation point here, which is good. And moreover, the Sun is grooving to the same tune that its general Mars grooves to. There is a trine happening by sign here, and probably also a little bit by actual aspect. So there's something very good to be said about that. The Sun is tuned to the tune of Venus here. The ego wants to be seen in the glory of proper value-driven relationships and sentiment and getting through things to build a dream, sacrificing to build a mutual dream with a partner or partners. These are all things that Taurus wants to do, and Mars in Capricorn is good in communication, good at listening, good at directing without seeming like a dick, coming off like a dick. The direction of Mars, the leadership of Mars in Capricorn is going to be richly harmonized with the harmonizing instinct of Sun in Taurus. So these two really do give a lot to each other. The Sun in Taurus gives Mars in Capricorn more harmonization ability so that they're socially sensitive, so that they won't come across as bossy, or they can be bossy, actually. These people can be bossy, quite bossy and stubborn and self-directed, because Mars in Capricorn here stands up for itself, and Taurus is already stubborn. But when it comes to listening, when it comes to people who are important to them, they will listen. They will listen to the things that will ultimately bring out the best in the relationship, even though they can be a bit fidgety and fussy in a certain way. They're driven by their own directive, and their energy, they have a lot of energy because both these planets are close to their exaltation point. So they won't be too fussy. They won't, probably not as fussy as a lot of Tauruses, because the Mars in Capricorn has so much energy going in the right places that they reduce tension. They feel satisfied. They're probably satisfied with the lover that they get through their magnetism and their sexual ability, that they don't probably need to come off as all that like intense or rigid or frustrated or anything in that regard. So this is a strong Sun by being close to Aries, and it works well with the earthy nature of Mars and Capricorn. This video is, of course, by the way, a continuation of our Mars and Capricorn series, in this part of our series. If you want to learn more about Mars and Capricorn, you can check out the start of this part of the series. It's the Mars and Capricorn video. You'll learn about its exaltation and what that brings to this Mars. Essentially, the big tune, the big number, is that this Mars is reined in by Saturn's restricting, contained, rational reason sort of motif that the Mars in Capricorn always expresses. It kind of calms down and releases and channels. It finds proper channels. It's the yin energy of Capricorn. It reins in the outgoing, impulsive nature of Mars. But this in particular, usually Mars is an outgoing energy that likes to be in an outgoing place. This is a particular trick where Mars is exalted in Capricorn, and it is being reined in the proper way. So this Mars is very capable of getting whatever the Taurus wants, while the Taurus in this person is still sensitive, still lovey-dovey, still sentimental, and really goes about applying itself to building a delicious life, an indulgent life, a hedonic life, but ultimately still materialistic, passionate, artistic, even, environmentally sensitive, this type of person that Taurus is. And it's a very driven Taurus. It's a Taurus who stands up for what he or she believes in, and is capable of getting what it wants while still getting what we want. It's a very capable relationship personality. Capable ambition in regards to the person's own ambitions. Taurus fixes itself to the ambitions that it wants, and it can slowly, meticulously work through any job, any position, climb its way slowly to the top of a ladder, work with the right people, shake hands with the right people, the right bosses. That's what Taurus does to get to a place where they're a powerful figure in a company, that they can have sway, and they can bring whatever surplus from whatever job they have into their personal life, which is also probably bound to be just as important for them as well, depending on your sexual nature. If you want to know more about Taurus Sun Sexuality, I also have a Taurus Sun Sexuality video that you can look up on my channel, by the way. Now, with all that being said, there's a little bit of a trine going on here between the Sun and Mars. I'm a Vedic astrologer, and I don't really tend to consider the trines and squares to be necessarily universal aspects. I'm a Vedic astrologer. I'm a tropical Vedic astrologer, which means that this is a Western reading. You don't have to go thinking, I use Vedic philosophy, but I don't turn the signs back or whatever that whole sidereal thing is. I use the same, if you're a Western astrologer, I use the same signs as you. I just know the Vedic philosophy, and I like to pepper it in. And according to Vedic philosophy, the sun gives trines in a certain way, but Mars isn't giving as much of a trine to the sun here as the sun is giving to Mars. Mars is beaming its energy to the 9th house from itself, which is where Mars is. And this adds more discipline, more refining energy to this Mars. So if they really want to be able to, they're probably an athletic person, and this can make for an extra athletic lover. This is a sun which beams energy into this already athletic and magnetic and vital Mars and Capricorn energy. So this is a Mars energy which wants to feel constant grips in its sexuality and in its whole energy field, so that it knows that by pushing and projecting itself towards something, it's getting a response, it's getting appreciation for this vital energy that it has a lot of. It's able to serve a lot, and probably wants to have juicy sexual experiences that help to put this fireball, to channel it into constructive places. In fact, this could be a person who's very capable of ventilating and having even not necessarily quickies. Taurus doesn't do the quickie thing, but Taurus here can find ways of being sexual and energizing and just juicy ways of, even exercising, running up the stairs, but also ventilating sexual energy into little places that most people wouldn't be thinking about a sexual energetic moment. Just simple little things like this is a Taurus who's in the elevator with their lover, and they're both just kind of together, and they're going up somewhere, and it's just a hot moment where they're talking about something, and then the Taurus says oh, going up, huh? And then just gives them a little touch on the side, and then the lover's just yeah, I am now. That kind of little ways of bringing juicy sexual erotic puns and things like that. Or at least consciousness of some sort. They'll find little ways to enrich most of their lives with that kind of extra juiciness. It's still Sun in Taurus, so it can be kind of juicy, but not blah all over the place. There's an inhibitedness, a reserve, a conservative reserve here that comes through ultimately with tones of refinement. There's a quiet, refined character in here, a sarcastic character who can be willing to say some hard things. The Mars and Capricorn can be hard and true and real, but the Sun in Taurus just loves just being funny and letting it go and being stubborn and saying they're truly on their mind. Especially they'll spin it in a way that is socially acceptable, because Taurus tends to do that. It's a funny combination of like social acquiescence due to the Taurus, but also stubborn, rigid, standing up for what one believes in, standing up for others, and being real when they feel that it's important to be real. It's a good thing because Taurus can be very wishy-washy and kind of pastoral. You know, if this is especially for a woman Taurus here, you're very capable of still being just that cute little coffee cup that everyone likes to sit in, that sweet little ball of sugar. But like when it's time to like get in the van, all right, everybody get in the fucking van. It's time to go to the movies, or whatever the heck. Okay, everybody, we've been here long enough. Let's rock and roll. Everybody get in the van. You know, it's that kind of cool combination of being able to do both of those things. Good combination. Now, I've just spoken my own little spiel about it. This next reading comes from Erotic Astrology by Phyllis Vega. We're going to unfold a little bit on the natural erotic psychochemistry of the Sun in Taurus. As we go through, I'm going to try to add in a little bit of my concept of how having Mars in Capricorn would enrich that. So this is Sun in Taurus in bed. Sexually, those born under the sign of the bull are deeply passionate, although somewhat reserved. Fearful of rejection, you prefer to draw love to you rather than pursue it openly. Since, you know, the Mars in Capricorn here is actually a little bit more willing to and tap and talk. There's magnetism still. It's earthy. It's still drawing to itself. But again, the Mars in Capricorn will put on that sexy dress and make that fuck me eyes and do the little things, put little things in little places that would entice the person to be interested in the signals that this Taurus is ultimately drawing to themselves very firmly. There's a firmness that comes from the Mars in Capricorn, where a lot of Tauruses just put out the vibe and hope something comes to them, and a lot of times it does because Taurus is just so juicy anyway. But they also get a lot of suitors who might not necessarily be the best for them, or are, you know, a lot of Tauruses are beautiful people but could go for more, but they don't because they just want sexual satisfaction now, the feeling that they're loved by somebody, and like right now. This is a Taurus which can hold off because the Mars in Capricorn is disciplined to reduce the animal tension inside the Taurus. Wait for the proper partner who is worthy of your capability in lovemaking and whatever else. It's the Mars in Capricorn that brings out the cream in this combination, as it does for all the sun signs, really. Mars in Capricorn is exalted Mars. So it's being the right-hand man of the lusty desires of the sun. Mars exalted is always going to make things easier for whatever the sun wants to do. Since Taurus is naturally charming, alluring, and sexy, you probably have little trouble attracting romantic partners. However, you do require a lot of affection and consideration in return, and you do thrive on flattery and compliments. And again, it's the Mars in Capricorn that's going to push for a person who will give you these kinds of things, and you'll know how to reward them and communicate. Ah, yes, thank you. That's something that I like. Please keep doing that. These are all strengths that not every Taurus has because they're a feminine energy that assumes you're supposed to know or hopes that you know. It's the Mars in Capricorn that can compensate for that quietness, that meekness that Taurus often implies. In your love life, as in all other things, you cannot be rushed. Your sensuality, generosity, affectionate nature, and legendary staying power make you an excellent lover, and sex is closely tied to your love of pleasure and luxury as a Taurus. More of this athleticness and physical body thing is also coming from the Mars in Capricorn and the aspect going on here. Your bedmate is practically guaranteed a sexual experience that is joyful, pleasurable, and extremely satisfying. Just with all Tauruses in general, with all the sensuality that they have. And Mars in Capricorn draws you to really actively take care of the needs and wants of the partner in a balance with yourself. Because again, Mars in Capricorn will not be bowled over by someone else's command, because you have a thing where you know how to stand up for yourself without reducing the receptivity of the Mars and of the Taurus style, rather. Taurus is very receptive. They win by this magnetic allure, and that's mostly how they get along. But the Mars in Capricorn is secretly has a hand putting things in places to rigidly, firmly affirm the reality. Not just by the attraction, but firm, willful, diligent deliberation at the same time. It's a good combination. Now, turn-ons and turn-offs of Taurus Sun. Again, this is mostly just centered on Taurus. I'm bringing my own little thoughts of how Mars and Capricorn reflects on it. Taurus is arguably the most sensuous sign in the zodiac. You thoroughly enjoy the one-on-one aspect of a romantic relationship and the affection and intimacy it provides. In private, you make an intense bedmate, one who is happy to have the sensual encounters continue all night long. It's the fixed earth ego of Taurus is looking for that. Not only to have this overabundant energy of vitality and juiciness and sexuality and joy, but also to project it into the future. How do we take this energy and make more joy, more of what we are is buoyantly, abundantly going towards a skill, an ambition, a desire, a new house, a new job that is going to bring us more of this abundance that is naturally coming out of the filled cup that is our domestic life. It's the kind of thing that Taurus tries to attract, and then just that excess vitality emerges from that bliss if it goes well. This is a Taurus in particular who's very capable of pleasing their lover, and that's good for whoever they do get with. The stubbornness is there, and it really is up to your Venus and Mars to show whether you will find a lover who firmly fits with the security that you probably ultimately do look for. And you've got a good way of strong-arming the things you need to apply in order to get that security. It's just the thing is that if you don't have a good Venus and Moon, even though I'm saying there's a lot of good in this combination for the logos, the yang side of your consciousness, you good ambition power, and you get what your ambition is, which is that Taurus ego and all these things. It's just that for you to really attract a fulfilling relationship that will bring out the best of your Sun and Taurus, you will probably need to have a strong Venus and Moon. And if you don't, and even Mercury can help for this person's type of consciousness. Venus in particular, because the Sun is in Taurus, which means that Venus is the dispositor of the Sun, because Venus rules Taurus where the Sun is. So the dispositor holds and channels the energy of any planet that's inside the sign. The dispositor that rules a sign channels the energy of any planets that are in that sign, which means that Venus, since it rules Taurus, is channeling the energy of the Sun for everyone who is a Taurus Sun, and your Venus is going to deeply define your capacity to get the love that you seek. And if your Venus is like, it's good in Gemini. It might be tougher here if it's exalted, if it's conjunct the Sun here in Taurus. Venus does well in Taurus, but if it's combust, that deeply hurts Venus. Venus does well in Aries. It's a neutral sign, but it's close to Pisces. And then this Taurus Sun in particular does very, very well when the Sun is in Pisces, because that's where Venus is exalted. I hope I said that right. This Sun and Taurus person does very well when Venus is in Pisces, because then the dispositor of Taurus is in its exaltation point. These are all things you got to consider, But without getting too technical, I digress. I want to finish with where we're going here. Ultimately, though, it'll be up to Venus and the Moon to define whether you will really consider it important to keep a relationship that will bring out the best of what this Taurus Sun wants sexually. Sexually, Taurus is the energizer bunny of the zodiac. So you thrive on unhurried nights of love play, liberally punctuated with amorous conversation, erotic fantasy, and an occasional indulgence in food and drink. These are all turn-ons for Taurus. Elegant surroundings, sensuous perfumes, silky fabrics, soft music, and sex play involving delectable delicacies such as whipped cream or chocolate. These are all guaranteed turn-ons for Taurus. You particularly enjoy being kissed around the neck and throat, and having your skin gently stroked sets your whole body on fire as a Taurus. Your ideal lover moves in slowly, savoring every moment, and builds gradually to a powerful climax. And again, this Mars in Capricorn knows how to facilitate all of these things. You know your desire, you know your way, and you know how to communicate it certainly diligently, and in a way that is magnetic, that draws on the role that you seek to play sexually. Because remember, this is the Sun and Mars are your yang style. So it's like, how would you like to apply your desire to sexually be with somebody? Whatever your postures are that you enjoy, whatever your sexual style is, you probably have a firm grip on it. And you'll probably apply it very strongly, be ready for it, and know how to communicate it, which is a very useful thing. Again, it's just going to be up to the Venus and Moon to define how much you listen and how much, how important it is for the person that you're doing this fun sex play with to be a fulfilling life partner who also enriches you as a foundation for your emotional experience. Your Venus and Moon define that. But outside of that, in the boudoir, sex for sex's sake, you are very capable of finding your role, sub, dom, or anything in between, communicating it and applying it in a functional way. It's part of being a good lover in this sense. This is a Taurus that can really do that. And again, it's because of the Mars in Capricorn. It can make for a powerful tantra artist as well with this combination. So we've read about the Sun in Taurus through this book. Now we're going to read from the same author a combined reading of what it's like when you have the Sun in Taurus and Mars in Capricorn combined together. Sun in Taurus, Mars in Capricorn. You're just as warm-blooded and affectionate as other Taurus natives, but you might be less comfortable about letting your deepest feelings show, at least right away. But this is a positive thing because feelings often get in the way of the logical logos application, the detached arm-length closeness to sexuality that makes sexuality into a graceful art. Because we all want to dissolve that arm's distance. A good lover keeps their sexual experience at an arm's distance, so that they're watching it, are detached, and can apply it with grace while still being fully wrapping themselves in it. You don't want to keep it at such an arm's distance that you're not in it. That's part of the whole fun. You're not just being a robot. But a good lover, sex naturally does that to all of us. We're all, at our basest evolutionary thing, we're all friggin' lizards with a reptile brain that are just and it takes the application of the mind to bring grace to that primal directive. Sex is a primal directive. This is a person who can enjoy that juiciness, but can also look on top of it at an arm's distance and apply logical, rational detachment so that you're not just going so far into this sexual experience that we erupt in orgasm and then that's the night. This is a Taurus who will bring that up and be like, oh, you're going to come soon, so let's maybe move this around. What else do you want to do? Find different ways to ventilate the energy so that it can go as long as possible. It's a juicy time. So that's why you're just as warm-blooded and affectionate, but there is a reserve about letting your deepest feelings show, at least right away. Holding some cards, bringing more magnetic mystery to it. Simmering just beneath your seemingly imperturbable exterior is a warm sensuality that emerges behind closed doors. The Mars and Capricorn might not always put on a front of being the most juicy, Taurus-y person, but once you get someone behind closed doors, the Taurus ego emerges and feels safe, feels comfortable, I have you, and can really start to present that warm juiciness, which we now can apply the rigid Mars and Capricorn sexual capability to. When you feel safe and secure in a loving union, you delight in physical love. You possess a powerful sex drive and are skilled at satisfying your bedmate's desires. Moreover, you like to take your time between the sheets, and you pride yourself in your ability to control and direct your passion. Beautiful. There's lots of vitality here and lots of ability to direct it. Great combination. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. I'm Dustin Cormier with Erotic Astrology. Let me know in the comments if you dug this. If you did dig it, if you enjoyed it, feel free to give me a like and feel free to subscribe. Because if you did like it, then you might like some of the other stuff I got going on. Eventually, I'm going to do like a Venus and Moon a Venus and Moon combinations series of videos. So keep your eyes open for that, folks. There's always more stuff coming out in the world of Erotic Astrology. So I'm Dustin Cormier. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Hope it was juicy and sextastic. And I'll be in touch for more stuff, folks. See you on the next one.